Hey, how you guys doing? Hi back, Lex. Yeah, so the ISU-152, it's taken me a couple months, or at least a month, to get this upgrade since I actually originally purchased this. I will say it's pretty good with the Tier 6 derp on it, but in Tier 8 rooms, having a Tier 6 derp that can only shoot 3 rounds a minute, you basically are like artillery at that point, and we'll say a lower tiered artillery. So you'll rank up better with the 122s they give you, and then eventually you get a tier 9, but 90 millimeters on the hull, and then 90 millimeters on the side, and then 60 in the back, which says don't get shot. Basically, you can bounce shots in this thing, but most of the time shooting it right where that headlight is or right above it, there's a little bullet hole there, and that's probably the best place to shoot it. But 90 millimeters is pretty thick. It is at a slight angle. So if you can get it to, like, if you're on a hill and you can back down the hill and they shoot at you, you will bounce them. Which brings me to the gun. So yeah, a month of playing this once a day, maybe even twice, or even 4 times, depending on whether I got winning matches. This gets into a lot of tier 10 battles, I'm just going to tell you. But 1, 2, 3, 3 upgrades that are at least 25 to 30,000 XP apiece. And then you eventually get the ISU-152-2, which is the BL-10. And the thing is absolutely crazy penetration. 286 pin. That's with a standard AP round. It does 750 damage to 950. That is, like, crazy. The problem that you're going to run into is that this doesn't have, like, you know, tier 10 view range, like 400 millimeters, or 400 millimeters, 400 meters. I don't know why I always get millimeters, kilometers, and kilometers completely mixed up because they're totally different, and I always seem to mix them up. It's just something I do. I've done it since I was a kid, fumbling words up. I'd say it's dyslexia, but it's not. It's not that I get them backwards. I actually say a word that I think means one thing and then realize later after I say it that it's not. So the gun on this thing's just, you know, it's something to be afraid of. If you see a gun on the barrel or on the front of this thing that's bigger than the tank, I mean, look at the size of that barrel or that gun. You just want to be careful because it is 152 millimeter. Now it's got .40 accuracy. I'll say that you can rotate between this and a tier 9 version of it that does 390. It's 122. I believe it's basically the same gun you get on, like, the IS-8, and this is definitely some kind of a prototype. You know, I know they really made this tank, but 152 millimeter high velocity round, you know, this thing's got a terrible reload. And you can see here that I still bounced him. I think I hit the dirt, you know, in front of him. So I'm going to try again with a standard shell. This is a pretty good place if there's no artillery on the map, which while I was driving, that was the first thing I looked at is there artillery. And so if you pit angled armor, so the T-32 has 127 millimeters, and I just shot it at a 45 degree, or sorry, 60 degree angle, you know, which means it was probably more like 200 millimeters that I pinned. And of course, I'm shooting for the upper part of that Super Persian, but it really wouldn't matter because I should be able to pin the gun mandolin on it. So something else is, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to say that you probably would want to get some perks. It's going to save my life in this match. And that is, let me actually look so I could tell you 100%. So off-road driving, which, let me read what that does. It's what I've been using. I mean, obviously I have Mentor, Brothers in Arms, Sixth Sense, so I rank up quicker. Reduce ground resistance when driving on soft and moderately soft terrain. Lower ground resistance increases vehicles' maneuverability and acceleration. This skill is more effective when combined with additional... it's basically a food you can eat. And then, of course, clutch braking, which increases vehicle rotation speed. This skill is more effective when combined with, I think it's like combat rations, Lend-Lease oil, was it quality oil, removed speed governor, octane 105 or 100. Yeah, but just by itself, it adds on, you know, like I think it's like 5 degrees of rotation, which is just enough to where, you know, you can. I'll say it's people can circle you in this no matter what, because it just doesn't have enough, you know, turret rotation. So you guys might not be able to tell, but this was prior. This footage was prior to the update. Now I had a game yesterday where I got the same amount of kills, but unfortunately they were one shots, and I was kind of like I just took them out. So I ended up only doing like 1,000 damage. So I had this one sitting here since before the update. So I decided I was going to go ahead and just show this footage, you know, and not let it go to waste. Because it's a good game, and it kind of shows a little bit of everything. Like I said, I'm going to make a mistake in this, and that the rice paddies on this, there's a reason why, like, I'm just going to say, they spawn people down in the, what is it, F9 area, right? And so everybody just climbs up the hill and goes to the center. And because they want the matches to be longer, they've started spawning people down there. Which I'm going to go ahead and say just... This map is I'm gonna say not one of my favorite maps. I mean, you can surprise people if you run into people that don't know what they're doing. There's about 8 places on one side of the, like the side that we spawned on. It has great places you can go, at least 3, and then on the other side you're funneled down into one area. So people end up going down to the Death Valley, if you will, and then other people go to the rice paddies. So I'm heading towards the rice paddies, but I want to be super careful because up close or having somebody get behind me, I'm not going to be able to turn around quick enough to shoot him. And if he gets right behind me, he can just stay behind me, even if he was a heavy, and I won't be able to spin because it just doesn't have that kind of rotation. So the idea here is to be stealthy and just, I know I'm detected, he sees me, and that's it for him. So 704. So yeah. So the last tank, well, yeah, this is the last tank that I'm gonna get a kill with right here. It is my favorite tank, to be honest, at tier 6. Which I will say, as far as German mediums go, it's probably my favorite German medium, the VK3601M. Which is the pre-Panther tank. The pre-Panther tank actually looks more like the iconic Panther, and I'm gonna go ahead and just, you know, say that the gun on it's pretty good. The 75mm is pretty good. It's got a good fire rate. This guy, I don't know if he's damaged or maybe he just doesn't have any perks, but I really thought he'd be in the tree line over here, and I was sitting there thinking, well, maybe he just went for, you know, for his own spawn or something. So I'm like, he could have stopped behind this mountain to the right. So I'm like, I'm thinking he might be over there. So I'm going to drive over there. And then my sixth sense goes up. And I see on my map he's to my left. He gets a poor shot and he bounces. I realize he's not fully upgraded. But I'm going to go ahead and rush a shot. And as you can see, if you don't let that reticle shrink in. And then of course I do something dumb here. And that is, you know, I'm going to say, look, if you see me spinning, this would not happen if I didn't have those perks. The ground resistance perk. And boom. So, yeah, saved my life, I'm going to say, those 2 perks. So, but you could go with camouflage too and hope that people don't detect you. I have noticed in the newer update that, you know, they fixed it. So you can actually shoot from bushes and you're not getting detected quite as easy. But it's random, so you can't depend upon it yet. They're getting better, though. I will say I really do like the particles that they did. I mean, it sounds lame, but I mean, I personally think it would be amazing. Like, you know, it changes whether you're driving on mud or snow or grass or water, which is pretty cool. I mean, while you're driving through a match, if it has all 3 different types, you'll actually see your tank treads fill up with snow, mud, or sand, which is really cool. I haven't been on Arctic yet, and Arctic I think will build snow up on the top of your tank, which is cool. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment, like, and subscribe, and have a good one. Later.